In Waterford this weekend, we're also looking at the semi-finals. Dungarvan are against Roanmore, and we'll come to that in a minute. But Ballygunner against Mount Sion. Ballygunner beat 4 Mile Water 123 to 115. Mount Sion beat Passage 219 to 315, which is a very close run thing there. But we're going to style it as Austin Gleeson against Desi Hutchinson, or Aussie Gleeson trying to bring down the Giant, the 41-game unbeaten Ballygunner.
How good is Aussie going to have to be for a shock to happen here? Like, he's going to have to, he's going to have to be 3-5, 3-6, or 1-10 or 11 or something like that. The vast majority from play, that is probably what it's going to take.
He's going to have to produce a serious performance there, and obviously it can't just all be on him. But it's a serious. I mean, I'm just looking through the team here, the Waterford team, and seeing how many Mount Sion lads are on the starting team.
Very few.
Yeah, this was the game against Galway, and even on the bench. Yeah, they're just not really represented the way they used to be. There's nobody even on the bench here. He's the only Mount Sion lad in the 26 in that game against Galway. Ballygunner, actually, this is an interesting point. We know how dominant Ballygunner are. Are they going for 7 in a row, or is it 8 in a row? Somebody will clarify that. But the starting team, because we know a few lads are injured or have retired, or, Pádraig Mahoney was injured, Stephen O'Keefe took the year away, Philip Mahoney's retired. But in the starting team for Waterford, Ian Kenny, Peter Hogan, who only really established himself as a consistent starter this past year, and Desi Hutchinson. And yet they're so dominant in the county championship. Even looking at the bench here, there's nobody on the bench in this All-Ireland qualifier match last year. And it's funny that they're not as massively represented on the county team as you would have thought, despite dominating their county championship. And you can nearly say that about Coola too, because Coola have won 5 of the last 6 in Dublin, but at the moment it was only Cian O'Callaghan who was starting there last season. I think, Sean Moran was in and out. I'm not sure if anyone else was, actually.
Is that a benefit to some club teams to not have a big representation on their county team when they have a lot of guys at a really high level? So they're obviously training together throughout the year. They're playing good practice matches while the county are playing. They're developing a style of play. Whereas with some teams, you're missing a couple of really big names that you would build your team around, and you're only getting them back, 3 or 4 weeks before a championship. So Coola have a style of play in the absence of, a couple of players. Obviously, Con not being involved is probably difficult as well. But Ballygunner, and the last couple of times I've seen Ballygunner play, it's just very, very systematic. There's no star players in the sense that everybody chips in their own way. Desi Hutchinson would obviously probably be the star man in attack. But even looking at their quarter final against 4 Mile Water, Desi didn't score until the second half, but he set up a load of scores. They've loads of lads. Kevin Mahoney can hurt you. Mikey Mahoney can hurt you. Pádraig Mahoney can hurt you. Desi Hutchinson can hurt you. Peter Hogan can hurt you. They've a load. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. They've a load of different lads that can hurt you. So maybe, and they're so well seasoned together now at this stage, through the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah,
Conor Sheehan's another good player. Pádraig Mahoney back into the starting team the first time the last day. Philip Mahoney, I presume, is still out. Did he have a leg break?
I think he has a leg break, yeah. Just on that as well, Barry Coughlin could still be involved in the Waterford panel if circumstances allowed. Philip Mahoney could still be involved in the Waterford panel. Stephen O'Keefe wasn't involved last year, but he was involved the year before and could be involved again. So while they mightn't have a massive representation on the Waterford panel, they could have if those guys were, available to go in, but they obviously, for varying reasons, they're not. It's not as if they don't have a load of lads on the county panel because they're not good enough.
Yeah, for Mount Sion, they'll also need the likes of Stephen Roach producing, Martin O'Neill, players like that. They will need everyone firing in that game. A lot of it too, you're probably a few points behind psychologically just when you're up against a team that hasn't lost in so long. And also, like you were saying there, they're ultimate sort of team players. They're happy to always pass the ball off to each other. Desi Hutchinson, sure, I'll get a score eventually, which he tends to do, even if he's...
Yeah. You'd just be worried. You're worried enough Passage hit them for 3 goals the last day. If Ballygunner really go at them, they could hit them for 3 or 4 easy. And the only way Mount Sion win this game is... probably to hold them to minimum of 1 goal even. If they get 2 or more, you can't see it. To me, this is set up for, Ballygunner to have them at arm's length for most of the game and win by 7 or 8.
Yeah, and Roanmore against Dungarvan, then Roanmore beat Lismore in that classic game, an 8-goal thriller, 4-14 to 4-13. Dungarvan put up 5-16 against Abbey side. who themselves put up 180. And county footballer Michael Kiley, not to be confused with the Abbey side Michael Kiley, who was on the
as
county
I did.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think people would understand. It's hard to keep track of club players all over the county, but Michael Kiley scored a hat-trick and looks like a bit of a goal machine. Patrick Kern, he was excellent, got plenty of scores too. Did you notice with his penalties, the two of them, he sort of cut across the ball?
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a different style, but it was obviously very effective. Got a few nice scores from play. He was out around centre forward. And then Roanmore looking to reach their first final since 1990. Outside of Billy Nolan, I'm not really sure if there's anyone Roanmore who's in there. Billy Nolan
they wouldn't have massive representation on county squads, no. So like it's probably a surprise that they've gotten this far. It was even I would definitely have counted an upset to beat Lismore, at least more side that are coming. So it's a great opportunity for the two of them, isn't it? Like, whatever about the potential of getting to a county final and facing the Ballygunner juggernaut and maybe being blown away, that's obviously a possibility, but the opportunity to get there is huge. Like, how many county finals does anybody get to play in a lifetime? Some don't get to play in any, only the lucky few do. So it's a huge opportunity there for the two of them.
Yeah, relegation semi-finals then, De La Salle against Ballysaggart. Ballysaggart would probably feel very hard done by being in relegation, having won one game and lost two at the death, having come up from intermediate. And then Clonea are against Ballyduff Upper.
Yeah, well, like that's some star-studded relegation semi-final. Shane, Kieran and Stephen Bennett on the Ballysaggart side. You've Kevin Moore, Shane McNulty, Sean O'Brien, Jack Fagan on the De La Salle side. So like one fairly big gun, or there's going to be a lot of big guns on their side, is going to end up in a relegation semi-final. Then the other side you have Clonea, which would be Billy Power against Ballyduff Upper, which Mikey Carney probably be the best known player there. But De La Salle, Ballysaggart's going to be interesting. I think it's been streamed live actually, so that definitely be one to keep tuned into.
Yeah, and if anyone would let us know, there is Stephen Mumphy, who's now the Kerry hurling manager. Is he still playing for Ballyduff Upper? It'd be interesting to know if he is or isn't. If you enjoyed this piece of content, please follow us on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the page, which helps the channel grow. And if you want audio podcasts, go to patreon.com/ourgame.